Good morning. Today's Bible reading comes from 1 Samuel 25 through 27. Let's get into the reading. Samuel died. The whole country came to his funeral. Everyone grieved over his death, and he was buried in his hometown of Ramah. Meanwhile, David moved again, this time to the wilderness of Maon. There was a certain man in Maon who carried on his business in the region of Carmel. He was very prosperous, 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats, and it was sheep shearing time in Carmel. The man's name was Nabal, a Calebite, and his wife's name was Abigail. The woman was intelligent and good-looking, the man brutish and mean. David, out in the back country, heard that Nabal was shearing his sheep and sent 10 of his young men off with these instructions. Go to Carmel and approach Nabal. Greet him in my name. Peace, life, and peace with you. Peace to your household, peace to everyone here. I heard that it's sheep shearing time. Here's the point. When your shepherds were camped near us, we didn't take advantage of them. They didn't lose a thing all the time they were with us in Carmel. Ask your young men. They'll tell you. What I'm asking is that you be generous with my men. Share the feast. Give whatever your heart tells you to your servants, and to me, David, your son. David's young men went and delivered his message word for word to Nabal. Nabal tore into them. Who is this David? Who is this son of Jesse? The country is full of runaway servants these days. Do you think I'm going to take good bread and wine and meat freshly butchered for the sheep shearers and give it to men I've never laid eyes on? Who knows where they've come from? David's men got out of there and went back and told David what he had said. David said, strap on your swords. They all strapped on their swords, David and his men, and set out, 400 of them. 200 stayed behind to guard the camp. Meanwhile, one of the sheep herders told Abigail, Nabal's wife, what had happened. David sent messengers from the back country to salute our master, but he tore into them with insults. Yet these men treated us very well. They took nothing from us and didn't take advantage of us. All the time we were in the fields. They formed a wall around us, protecting us day and night. All the time we were out tending the sheep. Do something quickly, because big trouble is ahead for our master and all of us. Nobody can talk to him. He's impossible, a real brute. Abigail flew into action. She took 200 loaves of bread, 2 skins of wine, 5 sheep dressed out and ready for cooking, a bushel of roasted grain, 100 raisin cakes, and 200 fig cakes. She had it all loaded on some donkeys. Then she said to her young servants, Go ahead and pave the way for me. I'm right behind you. But she said nothing to her husband Nabal. As she was riding her donkey descending into a ravine, David and his men were descending from the other end, so they met there on the road. David just said, That sure was a waste, guarding everything this man had out in the wild so that nothing he had was lost. And now he rewards me with insults, a real slap in the face. May God do his worst to me if Nabal and every cur in his misbegotten brood aren't dead meat by morning. As soon as Abigail saw David, she got off her donkey and fell on her knees at his feet, her face to the ground in homage, saying, My master, let me take the blame. Let me speak to you. Listen to what I have to say. Don't dwell on what that brute Nabal did. He acts out of the meaning of his name. Nabal, fool. Foolishness oozes from him. I wasn't there when the young men my master sent arrived. I didn't see them. And now my master, as God lives and as you live, God has kept you from avenging murder, and may your enemies, all who seek my master's harm, end up like Nabal. Now take this gift that I, your servant girl, have brought to you, my master, and give it to the young men who follow in the steps of my master. Forgive my presumption, but God is at work in my master, developing a rule solid and dependable. My master fights God's battles. As long as you live, no evil will stick to you. If anyone stands in your way, if anyone tries to get you out of the way, know this: your God-honored life is tightly bound in the bundle of God-protected life. But the lives of your enemies will be hurled aside as a stone is thrown from a sling. When God completes all the goodness he has promised my master and set you up as prince over Israel, my master will not have this dead weight in his heart, the guilt of an avenging murder. And when God has worked things for good for my master, remember me. And David said, Blessed be God, the God of Israel. He sent you to meet me, and blessed be your good sense. Bless you for keeping me from murder and taking charge of looking out for me. A close call, as God lives, the God of Israel who kept me from hurting you. If you had not come as quickly as you did, stopping me in my tracks, by morning there would have been nothing left of Nabal but dead meat. Then David accepted the gift she brought him and said, Return home in peace. I've heard what you've said, and I'll do what you've asked. When Abigail got home, she found Nabal presiding over a huge banquet. He was in high spirits and very, very drunk. She didn't tell him anything of what she'd done until morning, but in the morning, after Nabal had sobered up, she told him the whole story. Right then and there, he had a heart attack and fell into a coma. About 10 days later, God finished him off, and he died. When David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, Blessed be God who has stood up for me against Nabal's insults, kept me from an evil act, and let Nabal's evil boomerang back on him. Then David sent for Abigail to tell her that he wanted her for his wife. David's servants went to Abigail at Carmel with the message, David sent us to bring you to marry him. She got up, then bowed down, face to the ground, saying, I'm your servant, ready to do anything you want. I'll even wash the feet of my master's servants. Abigail didn't linger. She got on her donkey and with her 5 maids in attendance went with the messengers to David and became his wife. David also married Ahinoam of Jezreel. Both women were his wives. Saul had married off David's wife Michal to Palti, son of Laish, who was from Gallim. Some Ziphites came to Saul at Gibeah and said, Did you know that David is hiding out on the Hakilah hill just opposite Jeshimon? Saul was on his feet in a minute and on his way to the wilderness of Ziph, taking 3,000 of his best men, the pick of the crop, to hunt for David in that wild desert. He camped just off the road at the Hakilah hill, opposite Jeshimon. David, still out in the back country, knew Saul had come after him. He sent scouts to determine his precise location. Then David set out and came to the place where Saul had set up camp, and saw for himself where Saul and Abner, son of Ner, his general, were staying. Saul was safely inside the camp, encircled by the army. Taking charge, David spoke to Ahimelech the Hittite and Abishai, son of Zeruiah, Joab's brother, who will go down with me and enter Saul's camp? Abishai answered, I'll go with you. So David and Abishai entered the encampment by night, and there he was, Saul, stretched out asleep at the center of the camp, his spear stuck in the ground near his head, with Abner and the troops sound asleep on all sides. Abishai said, "This is the moment. God has put your enemy in your grasp. Let me nail him to the ground with his spear. One hit will do it. Believe me, I won't need a second." But David said to Abishai, "Don't you dare hurt him. Who could lay a hand on God's anointed and even think of getting away with it?" He went on, "As God lives, either God will strike him or his time will come and he'll die in bed, and he'll fall in battle. But God forbid that I should lay a finger on God's anointed. Now grab the spear at his head and the water jug, and let's get out of here." David took the spear and water jug that were right beside Saul's head, and they slipped away. Not a soul saw, not a soul knew. No one woke up. They all slept through the whole thing. A blanket of deep sleep from God had fallen on them. Then David went across to the opposite hill and stood far away on the top of the mountain. With this safe distance between them, he shouted across to the army and Abner, son of Ner, "Hey, Abner, how long do I have to wait for you to wake up and answer me?" Abner said, "Who's calling?" "Aren't you in charge there?" said David. "Why aren't you minding the store? Why weren't you standing guard over your master, the king, when a soldier came to kill the king, your master?" "Bad form. As God lives, your life should be forfeit, you and the entire bodyguard. Look what I have, the king's spear and water jug that were right beside his head." By now Saul had recognized David's voice and said, "Is that you, my son David?" David said, "Yes, it's me, O king, my master." "Why are you after me, hunting me down? What have I done? What crime have I committed? Oh, my master, my king, listen to this from your servant. If God has stirred you up against me, then I gladly offer my life as a sacrifice. But if it's men who have done it, let them be banished from God's presence. They've expelled me from my rightful place in God's heritage, sneering, 'Out of here. Go get a job with some other God.' But you're not getting rid of me that easily. You'll not separate me from God in life or death." The absurdity. The king of Israel obsessed with a single flea, hunting me down a mere partridge out in the hills. Saul confessed, "I've sinned. Oh, come back, my dear son David. I won't hurt you any more. You've honored me this day, treating my life as most precious. And I've acted the fool, a moral dunce, a real clown." David answered, "See what I have here? The king's spear. Let one of your servants come and get it. It's God's business to decide what to do with each of us in regard to what's right and who's loyal. God put your life in my hands today, but I wasn't willing to lift a finger against God's anointed. Just as I honored your life today, may God honor my life and rescue me from all trouble." Saul said to David, "Bless you, dear son, David. Yes, do what you have to do, and yes, succeed in all you attempt." Then David went on his way, and Saul went home. David thought to himself, sooner or later, Saul's going to get me. The best thing I can do is escape to Philistine country. Saul will count me a lost cause and quit hunting me down in every nook and cranny of Israel. I'll be out of his reach for good. So David left. He and his 600 men went to Achish, son of Maoch, king of Gath. They moved in and settled down in Gath with Achish. Each man brought his household. David brought his 2 wives, Ahinoam of Jezreel and Abigail, widow of Nabal of Carmel. When Saul was told that David had escaped to Gath, he called off the hunt. Then David said to Achish, "If it's agreeable to you, assign me a place in one of the rural villages. It doesn't seem right that I, your mere servant, should be taking up space in the royal city." So Achish assigned him Ziklag. This is how Ziklag got to be known, what it is now, a city of the kings of Judah. David lived in Philistine country 1 year and 4 months. From time to time, David and his men raided the Geshurites, the Girzites, and the Amalekites. These people were long-time inhabitants of the land stretching toward Shur and on to Egypt. When David raided an area, he left no one alive, neither man nor woman, but took everything else: sheep, cattle, donkeys, camels, clothing, the works. Then he'd return to Achish. Achish would ask, "And whom did you raid today?" David would tell him, "Oh, the Negev of Judah, or the Negev of Jerahmeel, or the Negev of the Kenites." He never left a single person alive, lest one show up in Gath and report what David had really been doing. This is the way David operated all the time he lived in Philistine country. Achish came to trust David completely. He thought, "He's made himself so repugnant to his people that he'll be in my camp forever." And that is it for today's Bible reading. As always, get in touch with God today, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye.